Clearing anxious attachment style. Anxious or preoccupied attachment is a form of insecure attachment style. Also known as bonding wounds, in object relations and attachment theory, they are thought to result from disruptions in early attachment experiences, primarily impacting a child's development during the crucial early years, from infancy to around the age of 3 years. Later influencing the quality of our adult relationships, anxious attachment is often characterized by a strong desire for closeness and a fear of abandonment and rejection. Individuals with this style often crave reassurance, may become codependent, and experience heightened emotional responses in relationships. While the trigger points will often be more pronounced for twin flames, in karmic and soulmate relationships, this attachment style may also play out as the chaser in a runner-chaser, distancer-pursuer dynamic. In terms of energy physics, the positive polarity or anxious bonder's needy, clingy behavior energetically pushes onto their counterpart, creating polarization, with the avoidant bonder ghosting, blocking, or running. If repeated, the pattern may precipitate in vicious back and forth, in and out cycles. At best, these cycles are asymptotic or repellent because of the energy. At worst, they may devolve into stonewalling, self-sabotage, or even betrayal. When this happens, it's important to recognize that the spiritual lesson behind the breakup or separation is for healing. To heal a relationship, interestingly, Law of Attraction guru Esther Hicks has emphasized, you're not really letting go of the person. What you're letting go of is the resistance attached to the person. Moreover, the avoidant bonder is ultimately teaching the anxious bonder the lesson of self-love, which fosters secure attachment. When we can surrender and love ourselves unconditionally, it neutralizes the karma, in turn creating a 0 point, which allows the runner to return. With that said, it's also important to understand that unconditional love is not synonymous with having no boundaries. Indeed, the runner's return is a byproduct of the anxious bonder's healthy soul alignment rather than a result of having no needs. Spiritual response therapy is a very good system for clearing insecure attachment styles. For more information about how to be trained in SRT, see spiritualresponse.org. Transforming Blockages is another useful multidimensional system for healing bonding wounds. For more information, please see Jill and Remi's webinar series at Twin Flame Healers and QuantumUnion.com. And as always, please remember to like and share this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. I appreciate the energy exchange. Hello, this is the Lady of Shalott, and welcome to this clearing on anxious, sometimes known as preoccupied attachment style. I have assembled a group body, and as usual, I've prepped it to work. So by group body, I'm defining that as all listeners to this recording, now and in the future. The lineages they're connected to, so these may be biological lineages with whom you share DNA, but also non-biological lineages, cultural, symbolic, religious, non-religious lineages you're connected to. And I've also included your immediate soul group, extended soul group, monadic level, and all of your high self teams committees. So let's get into the work. So what is that running at, anxious attachment? What is the positive, negative number on that? And we're getting that the positive is 50 at this time. And what is the negative? It's 100. What is the level of consciousness that this group body is operating at vis-a-vis anxious attachment style? And it's only at the level of Holy Spirit status, which is very low on chart 3. This doesn't surprise me because insecure attachment is a significant issue in romantic relationships. With that said, this number is marginally higher than the companion clearing on avoidant dismissive style, however. One possible explanation for this gap in consciousness is that anxious bonders, many of them divine feminines, may be running savior programs. Thus, they may already be prone to self-healing themselves, which puts them a little further along their spiritual journeys than avoidance. I'm starting to douse on that, so you may hear my pendulum quicking in the background. And I'm going to lay in some clearing statements just to add specificity. It's not important for you to know what all these things mean. Just sit back and receive. Clear through all levels, layers, depths of chart 3. All elevations, vibrations, all 7 or more realities, from inception to present time and into the future. Clear all duplicates, copies, backups, rebuilding, replication programs. Clear mirror images and melt the mirrors. Clear all other programs that may trigger these. Clear anything hidden, buried, covered up, lied about, denied, cursed, or avoided. Clear body memory, memory impingements, emotional impingements even. Anything else the soul may be hiding in connection to anxious attachment or anxious attachment style. Please clear in 0 time. Again, for all listeners, now and in the future. The lineages they're connected to. So clear the cellular level, DNA, clan, and the ancestors. Clear for the soul group, extended soul group, monadic level, all of our high self teams, committees. And any combination, any permutation within this group body where there's something to be worked with, resolved, released, vis-a-vis anxious attachment. If abandonment is running as a master program, let's ask to burn the branches, the seeds, the roots. If it's running as a soul program, let's ask to clear. Separation, again, burn the branches, the seeds, the roots. If it's running as a soul program, let's ask to clear. Appeasement, burn the branches, the seeds, the roots. If it's running as a soul program, let's ask to clear. Restlessness, again, burn the branches, the seeds, the roots. If it's running as a soul program, let's ask to clear. And rejection, burn the branches, the seeds, the roots. If it's running as a soul program, let's ask to clear. Those are some of the obvious ones that I would associate with anxious attachment style. And we're stopping. Okay. And so where do we start this clearing, please? Lords of Karma, God Team, Infinite Council to help orchestrate. And they want us to go to chart 11, Soul Energy Programming. That chart is associated with the Lord of Lords level of consciousness. What wants to be cleared on this chart, please? Vis-a-vis anxious attachment style. We're getting programs the soul is unaware of. That's interesting. What else? Genetic soul coding. Anything else? Miasma of the soul. Okay, let's set up the clearing statement and then I will define those from Detzler's soul recreation. Clear through all levels, layers, depths of chart 3, all elevations, vibrations, all 7 or more realities from inception to present time and into the future. Again, for all listeners to this recording now and in the future, the lineages they're connected to. Clear the cellular level DNA, clan and the ancestors. Yeah, especially vis-a-vis genetic soul holding. It's appropriate to ask to clear all DNA compartments, chromosomes, trailers. Let's ask that that be done too. Clear for the soul group, extended soul group, monadic level. All of our high self teams, committees, please. Programs the soul is unaware of. The first item on this chart is programs the soul is unaware of. No information has been given as to how these programs are set up. That they do exist and can cause problems becomes self-evident. For when the programs are cleared, many clients feel the shift in energy, and changes usually take place in their lives. Just make certain that if they come up to be cleared, you ask high self to see that the work is done in depth. Okay, so we want to clear these programs in depth. These programs that are anchoring. Anxious attachment style, please. Sponsoring anxious attachment style. Good. Genetic soul coding. There are certain spiritual qualities that are programmed into the soul as genetic coding. There are 86 total elements, 22 of which are listed on chart 2, soul qualities. The task of each soul is to acknowledge, appreciate, and learn to use these characteristics in an orderly and harmonious way so that good is produced. When we fail to use them correctly, in peace, love, wisdom, and order, discordant energy is accumulated and must be researched and cleared as described in Chapter 5, the basic steps of SRT. Okay, so Spirit, is it appropriate then, after we're finished clearing Chart 11, to go to Chart 2 to identify what the genetic soul coding, which elements? And I'm getting a yes. Okay, so we'll do that next. Miasma of the soul. Miasma is a foreboding or death-like atmosphere, a stain or pollution. We can understand incarnation as a miasma because the soul seems to enter into a death-like state. Remember that Adam and Eve were told that they would die the day they ate of the forbidden fruit. Thus, when they ate, they entered a death-like atmosphere called what? Incarnation. They did not actually encounter a physical death as we think of death. Rather, they polluted or stained the pure essence of their soul consciousness and entered a state where they were, for all intents and purposes, dead to the reality that they were spiritual beings. They found themselves naked, exposed to a new realm of things which involved an impure consciousness of belief in good and evil, and the physical or incarnational world. Certainly the incarnational world is considered a dangerous, foreboding atmosphere. So it's interesting. When miasma of the soul comes up, I often associate it with a scarlet letter. So it's a repellent. Perhaps the concept of being an anxious bonder is somehow triggering or activating. Or perhaps we identify as being an anxious bonder. And that label is limiting our expression. Perhaps we've even tried to go to therapy and don't seem to be making progress on account of those very programs the soul is unaware of. Now, I mean, what's interesting about insecure attachment is it's usually set up. I mean, it starts in the womb, really, it can. And it can continue to influence us up to, I believe, in terms of developmental age, about 6 months to 3 years. And it does impact both the root and sacral chakras. So, I mean, it's also, I mean, as I said in the introduction, it's also known as a bonding wound, a bonding difficulty with the parent. So we have unmet needs, which we fear will make us stand out for the wrong reasons, especially in a relationship context, rather than the right reasons. And we may associate that with being an anxious bonder, or for that matter, especially if you're cross-watching with being an avoidant.
And we could have both. We could also have a more severe bonding wound like disorganized attachment. And I will at some point do a video for that, although probably not right away.
Well, more severe disorganized attachment is less common. It's estimated to only influence 5% of the population.
So let's move on to chart 2 now. And Spirit, what themes or challenges or genetic soul qualities are either anchoring or sponsoring the anxious attachment style, please, for this group body? And we're getting composure and benevolence. Is it both?
And I'm getting a yes.
So I'm going to clear them both together then. So we may feel an enormous amount of pressure to keep ourselves together. So, I mean, often with anxious attachment, we can have issues with self-regulation. May just be emotional, although that can be also a really big issue for disorganized bonders as well, emotional regulation. But it could also have a neurological component too. And yeah, with benevolence, I'm connecting benevolence back to miasma of the soul again. So it's like we want to stand out for the right reasons, especially in a relationship.
Because of our trauma, we may not feel naturally magnetic, however. So we may feel that in order to stand out, that we need to chase or fill in the gap.
So both of those do seem relevant. Okay, so that's what we want to do is we want to clear the blocks to these soul qualities, to being able to express them. So we go to chart 6A to get these. So Spirit, what is blocking composure and benevolence for this group body vis-a-vis, again, anxious attachment? And we're getting failure outside. Self-centeredness, right. That makes sense. That would be blocking the benevolence. What else? We may be running a fear of failure.
That makes us overcompensate.
Outside. Negativity. What else? Outside. We're getting guilt. What else? Hate of self and hate of women. Okay, outside. We're getting intolerance. Or are we getting injustice? We're getting, which is it, Spirit, please, outside. Injustice and not intolerance, but insanity. Is that correct? Oh my, okay, let's get that cleared out. Well, certainly, if we are driving suitors away because we get needy, we get clingy.
Since this doesn't seem fair,
that may make us feel insane, right? Regardless of whether we really have mental health issues. Although anxious attachment can also come with mental health issues, certainly. And I'm feeling into that.
it may have past life or ancestral roots too.
There could have been ancestors that were actually institutionalized because of insanity. Yeah. Okay. So clear through all levels, layers, depths of chart 3, all elevations, vibrations, all 7 or more realities from inception to present time and into the future. Again, for all listeners, now and in the future. Clear the cellular level DNA, clan, and the ancestors. Clear for the soul group, extended soul group, monadic level, all of our high self teams, committees, please. And we're stopping. Okay. So now,
what are the positive emotions?
Help us express the positive soul qualities of benevolence and, well, the positive aspect. So the light aspect of composure, please. So that would really be more of a self-regulated balance point. Either self-centeredness or self-restriction. Okay, so what are the 6B energies? Should I get blocks? No, I should just download. Okay, so download. All levels, layers, depths of chart 3, all elevations, vibrations. All 7 or more realities, please, from inception to present time and into the future, please. Of all listeners now and in the future. The lineages are connected to soul group, extended soul group, monadic level. All of their high self teams, committees, please. Okay, and what have we downloaded, please? Inside, we're getting beauty. Outside, love of self and love of women. Okay, good. That replaces the hate of self and hate of women that came up before. What else? Outside, we're getting tolerance. Outside. Self-esteem and self-control. Now, self-control, that makes sense. That's different than self-centeredness. And it is, yeah, self-control can be a positive form of composure, certainly. Anything else? No? Okay. Spirit, let's get the positive negative number now on anxious attachment. What is it running at for this group body? We're getting that the positive is now up to about 80, and what is the negative? Is down to about 45. Okay, where to next, please, as it concerns clearing anxious attachment? And we're guided to go to the archetype chart, the 8B one or the 8A, the 8B. Okay. So are we working on positive potential, negative potential, or are we working on a specific archetype on this chart? Oh, so we're wanting to get spirit level blocks on chart 6A. Okay, that's interesting. I'm going to just look that up from my supplementary materials here to define that for you. Okay, so spirit level, belief of beliefs. These beliefs are established at spirit level and are false. The energy or energies can be identified using chart 6A. While not the same program as listed on chart 10A, spirit level belief of beliefs is similar. When the soul is created, free will is a major function of personal expression. The uneducated, newly created soul's beliefs in many things that simply are not based on truth. For example, illness, rejection, being cast out of heaven, being damned, limited. Some of those are very similar to the inner child archetypes that some of them we handled in the inner child clearing. So where what's also interesting here is what plugs in at the spirit level are the morphogenetic fields. So that is collective consciousness. So the examples they use in the definition include illness, and rejection. So it's kind of like if we're feeling these things or participating in an identity or an identity around the belief of these things, and we practice that vibration for a period of time, not only does it precipitate in a mood as it gains momentum, but we can stay stuck in that mood longer because there's a morphogenetic component. So we start to kind of take on the energy of the collective pain body around these things. Okay, so let's get those energies inside. We're getting excesses outside, self-destruction. Anything else outside? We're getting negativity. Anything else? Outside. Hate of life. Anything else? Outside. And jealousy. Okay. Let's get those cleared out. Clear through all levels, layers, depths of chart 3. All elevations, vibrations, all 7 or more realities from inception to present time and into the future. For all listeners to this recording now and in the future, the lineages they're connected to. Clear for the soul group, extended soul group, monadic level, all of our high self teams, committees. So as I'm starting to clear this, something else that's coming through, since we were guided to clear miasma of the soul earlier, and we are now clearing spirit level blocks, there is another miasma program which is known as miasma of spirit that runs at the Queen of Life level of consciousness. So if it is also appropriate, Spirit, to ask to clear that program, let's ask to include that here now too. And I'm going to define it for you. Miasma of spirit. Each person before incarnating was created as a spirit being, complete, perfect, eternal, wise, intelligent, and indestructible. The potential for imperfection, or miasma, was necessary, or there could never be an extension of spirit being into materiality. It would forever remain as perfect potential within the body of spirit and nothing more.
So especially since these spirit level beliefs aren't true, miasma of spirit registers as a form of spiritual amnesia or narcolepsy. Indeed, insecure attachment can keep us stuck in compulsive self-limiting cycles.
And we're stopping? Okay. Where to next, please, for this clearing on anxious attachment? And we're guided to go to chart 25, or is it brain cell restructuring? It's brain cell restructuring? Okay. Interesting. I was wondering when that was going to come up. I did go into a little detail about it, I think in the inner child or maybe in the ancestral clearing.
And I am often guided to include it in the mind-body component I integrate during mop-up too. There's a little bit more about this spiritual healing therapy, which I will read about for you now from the SRT supplementary materials.
Okay, and before I read it, I'm just going to set it up. So we're asking
to apply a brain cell restructuring,
please, for all listeners, now and in the future, the lineages they're connected to, soul group, extended soul group, monadic level, all of their high self teams, committees, angels of light, white brotherhood medical team, the Arcturians and their advanced computers, Christ energy, medicine Buddha, and Archangel Raphael to help assist. So during a weekend review of SRT in California, someone asked about brain involvement with programs, and I verified the information I received by asking Spirit a series of questions. Discordant programs in the chromosomes affect the brain cells, which record and carry the memory of the discordant experiences. The brain cells are programmed by the soul when it downloads its programs into the cellular memory shortly after the physical birth of the body. So not only do the soul's programs downloaded into the cells of the body, but are duplicated in the brain cells. The recorded memory of the discordant experiences of past lives and of the present life are thus all part of the brain cell memory. The recorded memory of the discordant experiences and energies can later manifest as imbalance in the physical body. There does not seem to be a specific time for the manifestation of the discordant programs. Just ask that all of them be cleared. So that's interesting. The reference to the imbalance in the physical body, because there were a few related programs that came up in the clearing on avoidant attachments. For example, we were guided to clear electricity, which does impact the etheric body, the pattern body. And we were also guided to apply a healing of mother, grandfather, energies of the oversoul, and then yes, that's right, we cleared spiritual programs as well. So there's some crossover between the two clearings, which makes sense that there would be. They're really two sides of the same coin. So if it's also appropriate to reactivate, reapply the clearing of those mind-body programs. For anxious bonders, let's ask that that be done too. And while we're on the subject, if brain cell restructuring is also relevant to avoidant bonders, let's ask that the brain cell restructuring be done for that group body as well. We can do that. We can access a previous clearing. Another way of looking at this is every time we make a clearing, we're creating a new Akashic record. Okay, we're stopping. Okay, let's check the positive negative number and see where we are now. What is the positive on anxious attachment? We're at 95 now. And what is the negative? We're down to about 18. Okay, where to next, Spirit? Oh, in fact, we are wanting to do more healing by father, grandfather, mother energy of the oversoul. That's interesting. So apparently we weren't done with that aspect of the mind body. And I will just, while I am applying that modality, again, healing angels to help assist. All levels, layers, bodies, minds, past, present, future, forward and backward, please. Of all listeners now and in the future, the lineages they're connected to, soul group, extended soul group, monadic level, all of their high self teams, committees as appropriate. I'm just going to go redefine that for the recording, just so that you have something to follow along to as I'm clearing. At the head of every oversoul or soul family, there is a father and a mother. In the Holy Bible, they are called Adam and Eve. There are many descendants of the mother and father of an oversoul, and the family may consist of a few souls, hundreds, thousands, or beyond numbers, and into infinity. The grandfather is spirit, that which is the source of all that is. Sometimes a person may experience pain in the body that seems to have no final solution. When cleared, it goes away for a time and then it returns. It may indicate that you need to ask for healing by the father or mother or grandfather or a combination of the three. And we can think of these as growing pains, mysterious aches and pains that come and go and seem to have no logical or known explanation that we're aware of. And perhaps that's a source of looping for the anxious, preoccupied bonder. Especially when we are a child and our body is still growing. And we're stopping. Is there something else to clear? Yes, there is. Okay. Chart 30, final light. Interesting. Okay, there's lots of mind-body coming up. So they're guiding me to do a head-to-toe search and clear. I often do this during mop-up when I do a little mind-body component. So I'm going to set this up and then I will define it for you. So again, let's ask to conduct a head-to-toe search and clear. Asking healing angels to seek out, find out, locate the source of the affliction, the source of the malady, the source of the disease, the source of the illness even, vis-a-vis anxious attachment. For all listeners to this recording, now and in the future, the lineages they're connected to. Let's ask to include all DNA compartments, chromosomes, trailers. Download and apply for the immediate soul group, extended soul group, monadic level, all of our high self teams committees as appropriate, even though they're not in bodies. We can still ask to clear it from their soul records. Okay, let's ask to attune and calibrate to the level of 600, which is the level of peace. Although it's a very high vibration in a mind-body clearing, I always ask for that number because peace is also associated with the spontaneous, if not miraculous, healing of disease. Please. Head to toe search and clear. Once the programs are cleared, I want high self to give me the assurance that all illnesses or any other possibility of illness that the soul may be planning is completely eliminated. So I ask them to do a head to toe search and clear. Almost always they find either illness or programs for illness and they clear them. There may also be programs set up to experience accidents and injuries, which can also be cleared. So some of that we did clear when we did the inner child clearing as well, because they can be also conceptualized as part of the incarnational inner child. And so again, if there are any accidents, injuries, dementia we may have pre-planned, illnesses we may have pre-planned, let's ask to clear. Okay, where to next, please? We're going back to chart 29 now, is that correct? Okay, final blessing. And we're clearing majestic consciousness programs. What else? Consciousness expressing spirit. Okay, let's clear both of those. For all listeners to this recording, now and in the future, clear the cellular level, DNA, clan and the ancestors. Clear for the soul group, extended soul group, monadic level, all of our high self teams committees. And let's see what Detzler has to say about these, again, from Soul Recreation. Majestic consciousness programs. The soul has its first level of self-expression at the level of Lord. This is the first point in the creative process where the soul has free will, whereas prior to this, there was mostly, for 99% of the souls, pre-programming of the various paths of creation. Once the soul has reached the majestic consciousness level, it lives in the Garden of Eden, where it develops its ruling consciousness by partaking of all of the trees in the garden except for the tree of knowledge of good and evil. 2/3 of the created souls decided that incarnation was not for them and remained in the spiritual realms. The 1/3 who decided to incarnate partook of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, took upon themselves a physical body, and began the process of learning to work at the physical level with creative energy. And then the other one is consciousness expressing as spirit. Each soul is one of the infinite multiplicities of spirit, seeking to expand its awareness of itself. Thus, we are consciousness expressing. Everything that is less than the consciousness of spirit must be cleansed, harmonized, and perfected. So it sounds like there's some incarnational trauma here, especially that last part of the second program. Everything that is less than the consciousness of spirit must be cleansed, harmonized, and perfected. That sounds like an enormous amount of pressure. Perhaps the anxious bonder would rather have stayed at the majestic consciousness level than have chosen to incarnate after all. Okay, is there anything left to include in this clearing today? And I'm getting a no. Okay, so we're gonna head into a wrap-up, mop-up on the topic of today's clearing for anxious attachment style, sometimes known as anxious-preoccupied. So working with the God team and its 200 plus charts on the other side of life, asking to clear anything we haven't known to clear here today. Asking to clear 100% of 100% of all remaining programs on 100% of 100% of all remaining charts. Asking to clear anything not on charts. Clear Alpha to Omega, ensuring our records are clean, cleared, organized, brought up to date to reflect the full benefits of this particular clearing today. Making any necessary tweaks, adjustments, changes to our pre-birth plan. Activate our divine blueprint, bringing on board more of our soul's original gifts to help serve us on this next leg of the incarnational journey, or for some, it may now be an ascension journey. And again, just asking to clear away any accidents, injuries, illnesses, dementia we may have pre-planned. Asking if it is appropriate to do so to adjust the death date to be in excess of 100 years, if that is in agreement with our high self teams committees. Asking any ancestors who joined us today that they be returned to the spiritual realms from which they emerged. Thank you, ancestors. We ask you to send forth your blessings. If there's any other mind-body work that wants to be included in this clearing today, brain cell restructuring, if there's more to do. Brain restructuring, organs, glands, cells, tissues that wish to be treated, homotoxicology done. Direct healing processes, colors from chart 7, healing gates or markers from the power symbol, healing shapes, patterns from spiritual healing therapy. Any further healing by the mother, grandfather, father energies of the oversoul, for example. Spiritual programs released. Let's ask that that all be done automatically in consultation with healing angels, healing committees, angels of light to help assist. If there's any further work on head to toe searching clear, let's ask that that be done too. Continuing to raise the soul and its levels to that of 600 piece. It can sometimes take a long time to reach that level. Let's ask to complete that process in 0 time and just set the intention for those that have an illness or a predisposition toward an illness that they continue to receive the benefits of this attunement in their sleep tonight, please. Good. Sealing this clearing in, ensuring it is made permanent, resolving all the reasons why we might want to recreate anything we cleared here today or to create something similar in the future. Let's ask to clear that too. Rebalancing now the totality of the multidimensional energy field. Our organs, glands, cells, tissues feel more energized. They feel more filled with light. They feel more healed. Durga Amora, clear the sacrum, the root, the legs, ankles, the feet, the space between the feet, the space beneath the feet. Clear and activate the chakras at the soles of the feet and ground down onto Earth Star Chakra. Or it may be onto grounding cord with Mother Gaia and Archangel Sandalphon. Good. And as usual, we'll end with one healing tone to help with grounding and integration. We'll use the tone UH. Let's take a deep breath together, and then on the exhale, we'll tone And if you'd like to join me, feel free to do so. Good. Thank you, thank you, thank you.